So happy Canada Day. It's July 1st on my farm, and right now we're right in the middle of a $50,000 expansion. Like, that is a lot of money. This is actually the first time I've ever actually thought about how much money we're spending, but all of these key components to my farm are necessary. So today I want to go over exactly what we've been working on, where we're headed, and kind of the direction of what my farm is going to look like by the end of this year. All that's coming up next. So we've spent about $35,000 of the $50,000 expansion that we're working on right now, and we aren't taking out a bank loan. We're actually funding this organically through the company, and that is probably one of the most important things to be successful in your business, is have enough cash flow. If you had to take out a bank loan like I did, we had to take out $100,000 in 2014, and you have to pay that back. So right now we have a $2,000 commitment paying down our bank loan, and my employees, they're probably costing me about, I want to say close to $6,000 a month. So that's $8,000 that we have committed to my farm, and we're trying to expand, but we're doing it without taking out more money. And I think this is really important. It's actually really difficult to run a business with a bank loan if you don't have sufficient cash flow. So I've had to come up with a lot of really interesting ways to keep my company going. A lot of that has been developed through the struggle of my business and just kind of figuring out what can we do to bring in more money so that we can get to where we need to be. It's really important that when I started this farm, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have help. I didn't have anyone to really look up to. I just had ideas. And fast forward to 2018, I share everything that we do here on my farm because I realize that there's a true need to understand how this business works. And I think all the money that I've had to spend to get here, I didn't have a choice, but that's not necessarily the case with any of you that are watching this video or follow my channel. The whole point is trying to see what you need to do to succeed, but also understand that it takes a lot of failure to succeed. And we've gotten to the point in my business that we can actually fund our expansion through education. And I've offered our mentorship program where people come learn on my farm here, and it has been so successful, and we've been able to use that to cash flow our business to work on a current expansion that otherwise we really couldn't afford, or that would take years to put together. And we've also started diversifying more. So we're working on selling a lot of cultures, and I've been doing a lot of that through YouTube. And we actually started selling morel mushrooms at the market, and I've been working with a really good buyer that's in town here, buyer slash picker, and he goes out, gets what I need, and delivers to my farm, and then I flip that at the farmer's market. So I'm actually buying morel mushrooms for $15 a pound, flipping those for $30 a pound at the farmer's market, and we've been doing really well. The last 3 weeks I've probably brought in, I want to say, close to maybe $3,000 profit on our morel mushrooms that we've been selling at the market, and all of that just goes back into the company. So today I want to go over all the key components of the company that we've been working on for this expansion, and we haven't even spent all the money that we need to do, because we're slowly working on this throughout the year so that we don't run out of money, so that I can continuously pay down my loan, continuously pay my employees, but also have money for all the day-to-day stuff that we need on our farm. So all of that I want to go over today. We're going to start with our sterilization unit as number one. Okay, so our current sterilization unit, we've been using this for about 5 years. We have these 55-gallon barrels, and since we've started cooling down our units properly, these are taking about 4 days to cool down because they're heavily insulated. And we don't actually want to remove these bags. We want to let them cool down in the units. We still pop the lids, but we don't disturb the bags for about 4 days. So we can only do a sterilization run in these tanks really like once a week, because my employees don't work every day. So basically this unit is run once a week. So we're working on these new units, and I have 3 of them. These are our new sterilization bins, and these are actually a bin that we can lift up with our tractor. This is a polypropylene plastic, so it doesn't melt, and right now we just have bags cooling in there, and we've designed a steam coil that hooks up to a bulkhead just on the outside of the tank, and then these hoses can actually connect to the steam header of our existing unit right now. So we're trying to figure out the exact design of this, and then we're looking to get another 3 of these on my farm at some point this year, so that at least next year we have 6 to start, and then hopefully get eventually 12 of these on my farm, and then these actually become obsolete. So the challenge we're having right now is, or our challenge we did have, was it was taking too long to heat up. So we've actually sourced out some polyisocyanate, and one of my students, AJ Williams, he recommended this, and this stuff is fantastic. It's a really nice foam that doesn't melt, it can handle the heat, doesn't actually absorb water, so it stays dry. The only thing is it could be brittle, and we're strapping this to the tank. So we've actually designed a frame out of 2x4, and we've used some Coroplast, and we've made this handle that we can just pick these up, which is really neat. So we got a couple holes where the steam hose will fit through, that'll connect to the tank, and then we've designed a lid that's insulated as well. And the other tanks just over there, they just have a bit of Coroplast on them, because we're actually removing this insulated lid so they cool down faster. Now the only negative thing I would say about these tanks is that they have a little bit of a dip right here, and we're often getting steam leaks. So we're still trying to figure out how to get this to seal properly. This run we just threw a blanket over. We've been doing a wet seal with towels, and that's been working, but it's not working perfectly, and we're looking to duplicate this process every time without a steam leak, and hopefully get 3 of these tanks hooked up in a production run. But with the steam leaks, we're only able to get 2 of these tanks hooked up. But with the insulation panels, we're able to cut down on a lot of the heat up time, and these are actually heating up very quickly now. And we're able to sterilize, I think it was somewhere around 272 bags with 2 of these. So it's like 136 bags per tank right now. We're also playing around with the XLSA bags, and we're doing 12-pound bags. I think that's in this unit here. Yeah, so these are the big XLS bags. The only thing is we actually can fit less substrate with the XLS bags in these units, whereas we're able to jam pack more of the 14A bags from Unicorn into these units. So I'm not entirely sure. We haven't really worked out the numbers. Another factor to note is these tanks take about 3 days to cool down, but because there's less substrate with the XLS bags, they're taking about 2 days to cool down. So we have to kind of figure out on cost-benefit analysis on what direction we want to go. We're going to get more yield with these bags, so how does that compare with the 14A in terms of yield per bag and how much production we can do per week, and we'll kind of figure out the direction we need to go with that. So all in, these tanks, we started with a $1,150 cost, but we've had to add a metal screen on the bottom so that the feet don't fall out of the tank, and we had to add a metal screen on top. So with the bin, these bins are about $300, and we're spending about, I think, It's about $1,700 with all the metal work we're doing at our manufacturer. So we're at about $2,000, and then the insulation panels, we spent about $300 on the polyisocyanate and then a few $100s on framing and core plastic. But this stuff is used for all of our tanks, and then we're stripping down the insulation, just letting them sit like this. So the cost on insulating these tanks is a one-time cost, and then the tank build itself, we're looking at about $2,000 to build one of these units. So next big investment is we need a tractor on our farm. We can't really fix our efficiencies if we can't have a piece of equipment doing all the heavy lifting. So I've been using this tractor actually for a couple years. I was working with a farmer down the road that needed some of our compost. So we actually didn't have the ability to get compost because I have this old Ferguson tractor here that the hydraulics don't work on the bucket. So we needed a tractor, and he had this lying around. So he actually left this on the farm, and he would come and pick up compost for cheap, and then I would have a tractor that I could use on my farm for various tasks, especially for mixing the compost. And then this year, he said that he didn't want to share the upkeep on this tractor anymore. He has a few on his farm, and he was looking to sell it. And I knew this tractor really well. This is a international lowboy tractor, but it needed a lot of work, and he wanted over $4,000 for this, and I negotiated this down to $2,000. And he had these custom forks made for the tractor, which I really wanted, and we're able to use these to pick up our bin, our new sterilization tank, and move those around the farm. So right now we're picking those up and unloading them into the lab, and we'll be able to unload those right into the new entrance of the lab and actually cut out the step of unloading. We're actually going to be unloading the bags right at the flow hood and inoculate. So these forks are really important for my farm, and I got these for an extra $500. So all in, I got this tractor for $2,500. However, I said it needed a lot of work. It had a leak in the couplings and the hydraulic lines. All of those had to be changed out. They're all brand new. My tractor mechanic, he started working on this and realized that all the fluids in the tractor needed to be changed. So he started taking all of that apart and changed out all the fluids, and needed a new radiator. The radiator we bought brand new, and that was about $700. We needed a new seat. The seat we had was horrible, so we got that in. And the battery actually didn't have a battery mount, so we've welded a really nice slick battery mount on here. And then just overall maintenance. So the bill with the mechanic was about $3,000 plus the $700 bill for the new radiator, and then the $2,500 for the purchase of this tractor. So all in, we're over $6,000 for this tractor, and we're not even done yet. The starter, I think it's on the other side, the starter of this tractor is actually cracked, and we're gonna have to put a new starter in. I'll show you that real quick. So there's a crack just right here on the starter. It still starts, but it's definitely a problem that we're gonna have to fix. And you guys might have noticed that the ratchets on the front here, the design on these forks is actually faulty. It can't handle the weight of our bins. So we're actually going to be moving this bracket further up the arm of the tractor, and we might actually be bracing these pins a little bit better so that it can actually handle the weight. So for now, a quick fix was just putting a ratchet strap just in the center here, but we're not able to actually dip the forks anymore. We can only go really just like straighter down. So this tractor, by the time we get everything fixed up with the new starter and the work on fixing the forks, Like, we're probably going to be, I don't know, it's probably going to be around $7,500. You know, I don't want to say it, but maybe even $8,000. But I'll have a working tractor on my farm. The value of this tractor is, you know, minimum $5,000 on the books. But, you know, it's going to be a working tractor that I trust. I can probably sell it for more if I need to. We're able to use Thor's blade off of his Ferguson. So now we have a function of a blade, and we also have a bucket with this tractor we can use for compost. So a real key component to my farm. It's just, we didn't really expect that it would end up costing this much, but fixing up an old tractor like this, it's not cheap. But I trust the tractor. So to me, the price doesn't matter because I'm really excited about having a working tractor on my farm. So next is the hammer mill. This is a piece of equipment that we definitely needed because we work with wood chips, and right now we have all these trucker tarps spread out on this area where the tree company will drop fresh wood chips, and then we will actually sun dry them. And what's really nice is we've been able to start using the tractor blade to do a lot of the work here. Believe it or not, we used to do all this by hand with pitchforks, and we we would be exhausted spreading this out. When we have a lot of leaf matter in these wood chips, we're actually leaf blowing the leaves out of the chips. So as we fluff up the chips, the dried leaves will kind of settle to the top, and then we can kind of skim them out. So that's kind of what we're getting into peak summer now. We're starting to get some fresh chips over here that do have some leaves in it. All of this stuff here has been really nice wood chips that we collected before leaves were really on the trees. So this is a product that will poke through our bags, and we have to hand sift all of these sticks out. So having a hammer mill on our farm to produce sawdust is something that we've been wanting to do for a while. So this is a hammer mill that actually comes from China. I don't actually know the brand, but I'll just show you right here. So that's what we have right there. And I think everything that can go wrong with this machine has gone wrong. This has been a true nightmare piece of equipment that we've had to continuously fix up. I think we're at the point right now that this is working, but everything you can think of for this machine has gone wrong. All the welds are really thin, and all the metal was coming apart with the vibrations of the machine. You can see that we've had to patch up a lot of the welds here. The bracket that holds the lid down, we had to reinforce the chute, and this had actually all got banged up here, so that's a new piece of metal as well. Now, part of the problem is I actually put this piece of metal through the hammer mill. When I was scooping these wood chips, somehow that metal must have ended up in the back of the truck, and it got swept up into the pile, and then when I shoveled wood chips into the mill, this piece of metal started banging around and really did a number on this machine, and the whole machine was smoking. This machine does not have a kill switch. It just kept running and just mangling that metal with all the flails inside the machine. We broke a bunch, and we had a bunch of the cage here get banged out, and we had to fix this up. But believe it or not, this machine survived something as severe as that. We had an old oil style filter, which is such a stupid design. It was right here, and you can see the gap here. We're getting this oil filter just covered in sawdust, and we didn't really like that, so we got a air filter that is used on Thor's chippers. We got that installed, and it actually makes the machine run a lot better, and I don't really have any worries about this clogging up. And this whole thing just pops out, and you can bang out the dust, and then over time you can get it serviced and get those filters cleaned. So this we got at auction at Ritchie Brothers in the US for $1,600. By the time it got to Canada, shipped here, I think we were about $3,500. We had to get some new screens made so that we get the sawdust that we want. So down below there is 3/4 inch screens that is pushing out sawdust like this. And really just looking for like a chunky sawdust. We don't want it to be too fine because we want the mycelium to run through this really easy. Another thing I forgot to mention is this muffler actually fell off twice, and the second time it actually broke and cracked and fell right off of the weld right there, and I actually had to get our tractor mechanic in here and weld this muffler in place. And then all of the upgrades to kind of stabilizing this machine, I actually haven't even had a bill yet for. So I think with all the repairs that we've had to do, plus the 3,500, and plus we have some backup screens, the 3/4 inch screen, we're probably into this unit right now for about 4,500. The biggest thing we've been working on is trying to increase the yield on our mushroom farm, and soy hulls has been a big upgrade. This is something TR Davis has gotten me into, and I've been preaching about on the channel here. And all of these elm oysters, we're doing about 35% right now with soy hulls. So we're not actually at 50%, and I'm getting about £1 per block on 6-pound blocks on the first flush. It's doing really well. Been really happy with this. The clusters are phenomenal. This is our summer mushroom that we grow over the next couple months. This is definitely my highest yielding producing oyster on my farm. We charge $12 a pound to restaurants for these, $16 a pound at the market. They're looking really good. So I still have to harvest in this greenhouse today. We're not quite doing 50% with our soy hulls because of our pasteurization unit, and we're trying to cut down contamination. And that's all the research we're doing right now, is trying to figure out how much supplementation and how much sterilization time is needed. So 35% is the baseline, and we just started doing some trials with 40%. And then we have second flush in this greenhouse. This is all pearl oyster, but this is on our original 20 to 25% brand mixture. And then we have some more elm oyster here as well. A couple lion's mane kicking out. Lion's mane's been doing really well in this greenhouse, but lion's mane likes high humidity and it doesn't like sunlight. So recently we've just started adding more shade cloth to the sides of our greenhouse just to kind of limit the light exposure. And that's been a really nice addition. These fans are a big component to our greenhouse's success. It's the Aquafog Turbo XE500. So we switched to these fans 3 years ago, and we actually just replaced one of the fans in greenhouse 3 with the new fan, and I've been running that greenhouse with the Aquafog SS700 and just a circulation fan behind it, because the fan actually does not have enough power to distribute the mist throughout the greenhouse. So these fans, they cost us about $1,100 US, and by the time they get to me, they're about $1,700 bucks. So it's a big investment. I have one more greenhouse I have to swap that fan out with, but makes such a big difference. We can actually fit 2 more shelves in the greenhouse with that fan, and a big reason is because it's only 1 fan. With my old setup, I'll bring you into greenhouse 1, we have 2 fans, which means I need to set the shelves back further, and we end up losing 2 shelves in our greenhouse, which doesn't sound like much, but if you're trying to get 4 rotations for the year, it does add up. And that's really just a simple fix on our farm. So basically, by adding the new fan, we can pay for the cost of that in 1 season just by adding 2 more shelves in the greenhouse. This is greenhouse 1. We're just starting to fill this, and then this is the old setup, and this is the only one left on my farm. So we're looking to get this swapped out hopefully by the end of this year. Again, this is something that's not as important, and I don't want to hurt the cash flow of my company. So when it makes sense, I'll be swapping that out. And then we just have some backup fans on our farm. If something goes wrong, you know, we have the ability to make sure that we can keep production going. So the biggest project on my farm would be our extension of this building. This is Lab 3. I could bring you guys in here right now. Really cool. We got a slidable garage door coming into the lab. The guys have been doing most of the production in here because I've just been so busy. So this is all Clay and Simon. They've been working really hard, and you know, everything looks fantastic in here. We've been working with some new trials for spawn. What's really interesting, I can't get this right now, it's way in the back. This is our grain spawn trials. This was done on June 18th. This is pink oyster. And we have sawdust spawn, pink oyster, June 18th. And it's probably 4 weeks behind. So the new trials that we've been working at with grain have been working really well. This is our elm oyster, again on grain. You know, it's been growing out in less than 2 weeks. This is Ronald Shelf's grain spawn technique that I'm actually not allowed to share on the channel unless he gives me the okay. But I have actually never had grain spawn be this successful. So this is actually making me reevaluate how we do business. I would say the only disadvantage and the only advantage that was unintentional to using sawdust spawn is that we're actually not shaking the spawn in the bags. With sawdust spawn, we're actually just top spawning and letting the bags grow out, and we actually can get away with that. The grain, however, if we were to top spawn, it almost always contaminates, and that's a big reason. It's not really mentioned in textbooks, but I think that's a big reason why cultivators shake spawn in the bags. One, to have them grow faster, but also they will grow mold if you don't mix it in and you kind of clump it up. Whereas we're actually clumping up sawdust spawn on the top of our supplemented sawdust bags with soy hulls, and the mycelium's just running from top to bottom, and the top gets colonized, it's protected, and we don't really get any contamination. So a huge advantage for using sawdust spawn is we're saving a lot of labor in the lab. However, these bags are taking 4 to 5 weeks to colonize, whereas our new grain bags, they're literally taking 10 days with some species. So it's incredible. However, species like lion's mane do not like grain at all, at least from my experience. So species like lion's mane, this is lion's mane here, will probably always want to grow on sawdust. But I think moving forward for my business, we're definitely looking at reevaluating how we do spawn, and we might actually be switching back to grain. And then this walks into lab 2 here, and this lab we've had functional for a couple years now. This is our workbench. So we're going to be designing a new workbench for lab 3, just like this. This is a 2-person lab workbench with 2 flow hoods. And again, this is something that we can't afford right now. So we're going to be putting a workbench there. We have some flow hoods just in the corner. And we're getting a 3rd flow hood, so it's going to be a 3 flow hood workbench that is going to cost us, when it's all said and done, probably about $5,000. And we just can't afford that right now. So this is the main lab in here, and we're just bringing bags from there through and shelving here. So a little extra work, but you know, it's something that we have to do so that our company has lots of cash flow, and we'll spend that money when it makes sense to do that. But you know, by next year, the whole plan is that we're actually taking our tractor and forklifting our new sterilizer bins right into here, and we're actually not unloading the bags. We're just unloading the steam tank and inoculating and shelving. And then when we want, we'll continue the expansion all the way down this building here. So all these shelves, they cost about $2,000 to put up. It's all 2x4 and 1x4. We had the electrician install these really nice LED lights in all of our labs. So our labs are really bright now, so we can help spot any kind of potential contamination, but also just give our eyes really good light. And this AC unit was actually not intentional. We had to put in a new AC unit. They're called split heat pumps. It's about 18,000 BTUs. So we have a 1-head unit, 18,000 BTU unit that runs on this lab, and this is about $7,000 unit. That was an expense that we thought we wouldn't need. We thought we could be able to use the existing AC unit, but we had our aerothermal guy here, and definitely this was necessary. We always consult experts on any kind of thing that we're not entirely sure on, and I recommend you guys to do the same. It's tempting to do everything yourself, but as your business gets bigger, it's always worth paying someone that knows what they're doing. So we have a 2-head split heat pump unit there. That's about 20,000 BTUs, and then this unit is about 18,000 BTUs, and that's good enough to do our new extension. And then if we decide to keep going, then we'll actually put another AC unit down there just for that building. This is the start of our intake for our new workbench. So we're going to do 3 4-inch pipe, and then we have a custom made filter cage here that'll fit a 11 MERV furnace filter, and then that air gets pumped into the new flow hoods. So all said and done, this building, we are probably about $4,000 to $5,000 for the building. We got repurposed tin from an insurance claim for $2,000. We got 100 sheets, 108-foot sheets of this tin that we're starting to side our buildings with, but we also use that for the new roof. That was about $2,000. So we're probably about $7,000, and then the AC unit, like I said, was $7,000. So around $14,000 to $15,000 for this new building, and our time putting it together, which, if you really think about what this building is worth, because we've used mostly our milled lumber that we do on site. We just have a mill back here, and we didn't pay anyone to do it. We did ourselves. That's a pretty good deal, but still, you know, a big chunk of money. This has been the most key component to our business, is having a real efficient workspace. The fact that we're not in a warehouse, we have to kind of really get creative about how to design this business, and having this building attached to Lab 2 was definitely the way to go. It's going to allow us to grow organically, and it's going to help really improve the efficiency of our farm, and we have lots of land down here that we can keep going. So it's really just about figuring out how much demand there is for our product and trying to catch up to that demand, so that our business is able to achieve everything that it has for its potential in the valley here. And we don't actually have enough sterilization capacity on our farm at the moment, so this lab is actually empty. We're actually not able to fill this at all, so getting 3 more sterilization tanks on our farm is really important. So right now this is really just for our cultures, getting stuff started for production, selling cultures for customers that want strains. We have lots of cultures in here. I've collected about 75 different varieties over the 7 years that I've been in business. So this is pretty much just a spawn lab right now. Lots of jars, getting ready for the fall. So right now we're working on pearl oyster, king oyster, playing around with some other stuff here though too. We have some Numiko, we have blue oyster in the back, tree oyster, our enoki worked out really well this year, so I'm doing some more of that. Always learning and always innovating on this farm here. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I just wanted to do a shout out to every single student that has run through our mentorship and worked on my farm here. I would not have been able to achieve any of this if you guys weren't willing to sign up and learn on my farm. It's been such a great way for me to build my business, and I also just have so much fun with you guys during your week. We really work hard and we learn together, and I try to teach you guys the struggles and the successes that has gotten me to here today, and that is why sharing on YouTube is so powerful, and that's why it's so powerful to offer an education program like we do, because we don't need to take out a bank loan, and we're able to grow this business with knowledge and really just kind of share and build community, and everyone benefits from the situation. So I just wanted to say thanks, guys. I have a lot of students that I haven't met. They're coming this year. Thank you for signing up, and just, you know, thank you for being involved and even just following this channel. It's been so much fun sharing this business, and it's been so much fun actually being able to achieve what I need to achieve and really start seeing a lot of success on this farm. So anyways, guys, today was just an update. I've been really happy to kind of share everything that we've been working on this year, and I will continue to do that. Lots more videos coming out. We will see you in the next video.